So if you're interested in hearing the time that I got sued because I called my deodorant super fresh, you are gonna love today's video. All right, so buckle up. I've got a question for you, a very important question. What would you have done if you were me in this situation that I am going to outline and explain? All right, I gotta back up though. So a year ago, I came out with this. It was my new deodorant. It was called Super Fresh. That is how I described the fragrance, as super fresh, because boom, eucalyptus spearmint. It was super fresh. It was better than just fresh, right? So we launched this product, we put it on Amazon, and we're selling it. And it's starting to move, right? And things were great. But then all of a sudden, 11 months ago, after a month of us selling it, we get a letter. I get a letter. It was actually an email from an attorney from another grooming company that was sending me basically a cease and desist letter saying, hey, our clients want you to stop using the word or the description super fresh, because we have applied for a trademark and we're trying to get it and it's going to violate our trademark, and so we want you to change it, and if not, we're coming after you. So right away, my butthole went like this. It puckered, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, right? Because that's the thing. Whenever you get a letter from an attorney, it doesn't matter what it's for. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. It's scary, right? Because you hear all these horror stories about people getting sued and it taking a long time and tons of money. And in the end, the only people that truly win when it comes to lawsuits are the attorneys, right? And so I get this letter. I think it was an email. And I can't remember if it was an email or, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I get this, and it's basically saying, hey, you need to stop using the word super fresh on your deodorant. And if you don't, we're coming after you. The other thing that it said, and it basically said that we were trying to trade on the goodwill of this other company that had the description super fresh on their product. It said all this stuff that was absolutely ridiculous. The other thing that was interesting about this is that the people are like, we want to handle this, or his client said, we want to handle this nice and easy because we actually know the guy, Aaron, because we've actually worked with them, all right? Now, I'm cool now because it's been so long, but the company is a company called Sweat Block. All right, a lot of you guys know they're one of the biggest people that sell like underarm and sweat preventing things, right? It's aluminum. Typically, the big product that they started selling originally was these like little wipes that you could wipe on your palms, you could wipe on your pits, and it was basically like aluminum wipes that would stop sweat, right? Well, they had this other line of products called Super Fresh Man Parts, Super Fresh Girl Parts, Super Fresh, like it was a Super Fresh, something else, right? They're basically combining super fresh with this other word, and they were trying in the process, I should say, of getting super fresh man parts, super fresh this, like trademarked. Now, the one thing you have to understand about trademark, right? There are certain things that you can trademark, like slogans in a specific niche or area, right? Like for us, Bueno Hair is something that we trademarked for Pete and Pedro. T. Shanley, we trademarked uncomplicated skincare for men. It's a slogan in a specific niche. You can also trademark a name, like Pete and Pedro is trademarked in the grooming industry and beauty products. T. Shanley, same thing, right? You can trademark words or names or slogans. What you cannot trademark are descriptive words like delicious. You can't trademark delicious for a burger, right? Or fresh. General descriptive words you cannot trademark. You can trademark things that are specific to your business or the name, but you can't trademark general words. But what this company is trying to do is trademark the super fresh man parts, super fresh women's parts, I guess in like the deodorizing category, right? But the fact is that they can't stop me from saying super fresh as the description of the scent of my deodorant. Now, they send me this letter, and I already know a little bit about trademark and this and that, and so once I read it, I'm like, this is complete bullshit, right? And so I was like, I'm not wasting the money. I know my law, or I know my legal rights in terms of trademark and stuff like that. This is bullshit. They don't even have it basically like granted to them. It's something that they applied for and they're trying to get. The problem though for them is that the more people that have like super fresh on stuff, if it's being looked at in terms of actually giving and granting them a trademark, it's going to be more difficult for them to get. And so what they were trying to do is basically squash and stop anybody that had or used or described their product or their scent as super fresh. They were trying to own it, right? But they were trying to package it with other words in order to basically get it pushed through. And so I knew all this. I knew kind of like my laws. I knew my legal rights and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just calling the attorney up. Let's talk about this, which is a critical mistake. Never do what I did. Do not call an attorney yourself, which brings me to the first business lesson. Get an attorney. Whether or not it's a friend, a family member, or somebody local, you need somebody as a business that you can go to for legal advice, all right? Thinking or going to Google and thinking that you've got the answers is a huge mistake. Lawyers speak, all right? And so what I should have done when I got this letter is called my attorney, which I do have, and sent him this letter and be like, yo, I got this. How should we respond? And he would have been like, you don't have to do shit because they can't do shit, right? And so he would have then relayed that to their attorney. But me, I'm like, you know what? Let me just talk to him, all right? Let me see what we can do. Something else that they said in this document or the letter that they sent me was that it looked similar and that I was trying to trade on their goodwill. And by looking similar, it was basically like Super Fresh was over top of Fresh. And because the Super was smaller than the Fresh, they thought that I copied them, which I did not. I had no idea. It's not that hard to come up with different layouts of those two words. So anyway, so I'm like, you know what? I'll just talk to this attorney. So I give him a call. I'm like, hey, it's Aaron Marino. You sent me a cease and desist. So here's the deal. I know this, I'm assuming this, and so I guess what I could do, and I said something to the attorney, I'm like, your client doesn't have the ability to trademark Super Fresh. He can't do it. And the attorney agreed with me. No, he can't. But what they're trying to do is do this and package it in this space. And so I said, I'll tell you what. One of the big things that they have a problem with was the fact that it looks similar and that people could potentially get confused. And he's like, yes, that's correct. I said, I'll tell you what, let me go back to my graphic designer, re-render it, and change the look of Super Fresh. I'll make the Super bigger, I'll change the font, and we'll have no issues. And he's like, well, maybe. So he's like, I can bring that to them. And so I go to my graphic guy, I said, hey, re-render this. And I said, the other cool thing is that if we want this and this is acceptable to your client, I'll change all of the renderings on the website and on Amazon so that it basically is taken care of. Because I literally, like you remember, I had 30,000 of these deodorants that I needed to move through, which was another problem. I didn't want to change the name of this deodorant if I didn't have to. And so I go to my rendering guy, I get the rendering, I send the attorney an email with the new rendering and saying, hey, we'll change all this stuff and then we'll be good, right? He gets it, and then what does he do? He sends it to his clients, right? And basically, he came back to me the next day and said, no. Our client said, no deal. They want you to stop using it. And if you don't stop using it, in a few years, they're hoping by 2025, they're gonna be granted this trademark, and then they're gonna come after everybody who has the trademark to make them take them down at that point. So at this point, they don't even have the trademark like granted to them, right? And so at this point, I'm like, all right, what do I do? What would you do? What would you do in this situation, knowing that you don't have to change it legally? The other thing is, they can, even if they have the trademark, it's not going to affect this because they still don't have the words Super Fresh trademarked. But if they combine it with Super Fresh and then some other word, is it going to potentially, if they do get that granted, is it going to pose a little bit of an issue for me later? Will I later have to spend the money, the time, the energy changing it then? That's the question. What would you do? What would you do if you were me? You say, F you, I'm not changing it, suck it? Or would you say, you know what? It's literally a name. It's no big deal. I've got lots of products. I could just literally change the name instead of Super Fresh or the scent from Super Fresh to Fresh and be done with it. Knowing and having peace of mind that I would never have any legal problem in the future because nobody has the word fresh trademarked. You can't do it. What would you do? What I did ultimately was make the call. I said, you know what? It's not worth fighting for. It's not worth going through the potential headache. It's not worth the future thinking and worrying about when this company is going to come back after me and make me then spend money, spend time, spend energy, spend sleepless nights worrying about it. It was easier for me to just take it, right? And at the time it was hard, right? Because I'm like, you know what? I'm totally eating it. I'm totally bending over and letting this company bully me into changing the name when I know my rights. I know that I don't have to. But is it worth it? Is it worth even fucking with? And for me, the answer was simple. It was no. I don't care that much. I had bigger problems to worry about. The fact that there were some people that were like, yo, it's not working well enough. I need to solve that problem, which if you missed the vlog where I talked about, like 2 vlogs ago, where I talked about the fact that we changed formulas and we upgraded it so that it lasts longer and it's a better product, but I still had to move literally 30,000 units. I'm gonna link to that video down below. Also, you guys, that was awesome. You guys actually used the discount code that I had. Guys, if you want to support this channel, if you want your pits to be super fresh, why don't we do this? Down below, I'm gonna have a limited time discount code. It works on anything at Pete and Pedro. But specifically, I would love for you to try our deodorant because after the upgrade, it is next level. It literally is the best natural deodorant on the market, which is the ironic thing. The company that was fighting me is the reason why I wanted to create a natural deodorant, because I didn't want to rub aluminum underneath of my pits. I didn't want to clog my sweat ducts. And so that's kind of the irony in the whole thing. Anyway, I'll finish the story in a second. If you guys are interested and want to support this channel, support me, and you're like, yo, this is awesome, you like the content, down below, go check out Pete and Pedro, use the discount code, take the quiz. That's the other thing that we have. We basically have like retooled like our quiz and our technology. It's awesome. It basically will walk you step by step through like building a custom grooming routine. And it's awesome. I'm super proud of it. So I'd love for you guys to check it out and try it if you're interested. But if you're interested in having super fresh pits, gentlemen, actually, I'm sorry, not super fresh, just fresh as fuck. That's what I should have called it. Fresh AF. But anyway, I didn't, because they're moms and sisters and kids that buy the product, and I didn't want to explain that. Anyway, if you want to check this out, guys, I'm going to link to it down below. Also, that code, it's good for only a few days. I'm going to kill the code after 24 hours, or I'm sorry, 48 hours. So go shopping, do your thing, support this channel, support me if you dig it. And you also want to have incredible high quality grooming products that smell amazing and aren't going to F up your body, which is the reason why I created this product. Anyway, so I basically was beating myself up at this point. I'm like, you know what? This sucks. It sucks that I have to make this call. It sucks that I have to make this decision. It sucks that I'm even in this position for something that is complete bullshit. I know that legally I don't have to change it, but is it worth it? And then I thought back to that thing that my grandfather said a long time ago. When I was growing up, I would go over to his house and I would help him because he had cancer, his body was like crap. And so as a young dude, right, like in my teens, I would go over and help him, right? I would be basically like his body. And he would sit there and work, or I should say while I was working, he would talk to me and basically give me like life advice and talk about business. He was an entrepreneur, he was a builder, and he also had like a pizza restaurant, a bunch of stuff. Anyway, he said something to me that I will never forget. And it's the best piece of business advice I ever received. It's, you're either going to have to feed your family or your ego, but you can't do both. You have to choose. Feed your family or feed your ego. My ego wanted to fight, but my family, they want to eat. Like I said, I had other issues. I had other things. I got other things with the business that I got to spend my time, money, and energy. But paying a lawyer to defend me in the future for something and spending thousands and thousands of dollars in order to get them to be like, okay, you can keep it. It wasn't, I didn't care to do that. I didn't want to do it. I hate wasting money. I also don't like attorneys, and honestly, the two go hand in hand. When attorneys get involved, it is a losing battle, because what does the attorney want? He wants me to say, F you, tell him to F it, right? Because he's gonna get more money, because he's gonna get more billable hours, he's gonna get to come back to me later after they possibly get approved for this trademark, right? And so he's gonna make more money. Me, it's literally a black hole that I'm just dumping cash down just to feed my ego. It doesn't make sense. What made sense was for me to change it. Something else that didn't make sense was why we were up at Pete and Pedro like 30%, but my profit's only up 5%. Good news. I was wrong. I was wrong. Super wrong. Super wrong. You want to know the story? Down below, say, yo, Alpha, tell us how you were wrong. My math was wrong. We weren't looking at things right. I'll save it for another video. If you want to hear about my profit now, this year, let me know down below. Say, yo, Alpha, tell us about your profit. Anyway, that's it. I wanted to talk a little bit about getting sued, possibly getting sued. I didn't, because I took the easier way, I should say. But did I make the right call, or would you have done something different? That's what I want to know, because you could potentially be facing a similar situation. And if that happens, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight it? Or are you just going to be like, you know what? F it. You win. congratulations. I'm moving on to something bigger and better. Gentlemen, speaking of better, you are amazing.